Why would you do that?
Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Grown Mannerisms, being fluid with the currents of life. I'm your host, John.
And I'm your host for today, Ciara.
And today's episode, we want to talk about identity and how we maintain who we are in the midst of navigating all these different spaces that we have to adapt to throughout life, whether it's professional, personal, even sometimes socially. We can all have to present a different thing. And how do you maintain the core and essence of who you are through those situations? So I'm gonna start with you. And you lived a lot of different places, or a few different places. Have you had to adapt your personality or your style to fit these different spaces? And in turn, did those things make you question or lose part of who you were or are?
Yes. So in any space, whether it's new friendships or to go to work, new career endeavors, you don't give 100% of who you are to someone. Because you don't, I think it's more so you don't want the ridicule or the backlash, or like, oh, what if they don't like that? Especially if you start a new job, like,
it's about acceptance.
Yeah. What if they don't accept that? So give them a little bit and, do my work. And then maybe, the more comfortable I feel, then the more I give off, the more I give out.
So in what situation or in what setting do you feel like you are who you think you are? Like, not the person that you portray, the person you see yourself on the inside. Who are you most comfortable being that person with?
I'm most comfortable with, like, a small group of friends. I'll say maybe, like, it might be 3 people. And some of my family. Because my family, more so because they've known me from, I was little till now. And so they've seen the progression.
You was little? Oh, go ahead.
They have seen the progression of me. And so they know who I am now, and they're accepting of it because, it just is what it is. But my friends, because those small group of friends, they know, a lot about me. Either they've been through some things with me, or they've just been around long enough to know. So it just makes it easy where I don't have to explain myself.
Oh, this is my sponsor, Deer Park Water.
It's just so
if you go to a park, make sure it ain't no deer there.
It's just a lot.
Go ahead.
Whoa. Yes. What was that? Those select group of friends, because I don't have to explain things to them. They've even gone through some things with me, or they just know me enough to just know, like, my attitude. They know what I'm going through. They know when to push, when not, when to lift me up a little bit, when not. Like, they just know, and I don't have to fake it.
That, as crazy as this might sound, in all honesty, I think I'm less myself when I'm with my family, because I feel like I'm more myself when I'm with strangers. And reason being is that when I'm with strangers, there's no expectation of behavior. And so I get to be naturally whoever I want to be.
Right.
With my family, in my particular instance, my family is mostly, on my mother's side of the family, it's mostly girls. So I grew up with a lot of, obviously, sisters and a lot of girl cousins, and now they have kids. So on my mother's side, it's mostly women and children I'm interacting with. So it's never a reason. I used to always say it's never a reason for me to go around my family with my pants hanging down or being extra loud, aggressive, obnoxious. You know what I'm saying? And then my father's side of the family, it's the total opposite. I have only a few girl cousins on that side, and everybody is dudes. So when I'm with them, I get to be more manly. Obviously, like I get to engage in that type of behavior. You know what I'm saying? I still joke around a lot. The jokes may be harder or more probably ignorant, but also, but it's there. There's still a balance because there's still maybe it's less expectation with my father's side because men don't put a lot of well no because it's an expectation to be a man in front of men. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, but I think that when I'm with strangers or even like my current job, is easier because there's no expectations for me to be anything. So if I want to just not say anything one day, nobody cares.
Yeah.
The next day, if I come in and I talk a lot, nobody be like, "Oh, you was quiet yesterday. You talking?" They're just kind of like nobody cares.
Because it allows you the opportunity to
go through a full range.
Yeah, to have a bad day. Like sometimes you just having a bad day and you don't want to talk, and it allows you that because you may never see that person again.
And nobody cares. You know, I really, me and Vonnie kind of touched on it in the previous episode where we talked about how, you know, when you're an introvert, for instance, sometimes you got to put yourself in the middle of the room because if you stay off to the side, people will think something wrong, and now you get more attention because people think something wrong. So I force myself sometimes to engage when it's I have more expectations and standards for myself when I'm with people that love me because I feel like I have to live up and portray what they expect. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? But when I'm with my family, I mean strangers, and even with my friends, and the reason why I say that with my friends is because depending on the space I met my friend at, they also like if I met, you know, my friends from the streets, like, you know, it's a certain, you know, behaviors or things they expect me to engage in. You know what I'm saying? And then I've had friends, like for instance, I've only made like deep friends at one job, and it was a retail store I worked at, and it was mostly women that worked there. But because it was a lot of women and I didn't really have a professional demeanor or a professional personality, as far as like I didn't know what being professional was. Right. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying I didn't know how, I was just like, I didn't have like when I go to job, I'm this, you know what I'm saying? But because it was mostly women, I just adopted the same personality I had with my family there, because it was just like, all right, it's girls. I know how to interact with girls, so it's be jokey, be funny, be all of these things. So sometimes when those friendships that transferred and transitioned out of work into personal, it still was kind of like, I can't be the John that they don't know. You know what I'm saying? I felt like that. I'm not saying I couldn't be. So I don't think I'm myself with my friends or my family. I think I'm more myself when I'm by myself or when I'm with strangers, which is strange.
That makes sense. I mean, the way that you explained it makes sense.
So, like, what do you think? What do you think shapes you the most? Like, is it what you think of yourself? Because we also deal with outside societal pressure, right? So when we look at ourselves, we may, like for me, I see myself internally. I still might see myself as quiet. Not really as shy. I was shy growing up. I'm not really shy, so I can't really say shy, but quiet, respectful, you know what I'm saying? But, you know, people don't describe me that way. You know what I'm saying? And so it's like, are you who you see yourself as, or who you put? Because when it's yourself, that's only one person saying you're that way. You know what I'm saying? But if it's 500 people out here saying like, nah, you extrovert, you're outgoing, you're funny, you're smart, you're these things, and you like, that ain't how I see myself. Like, it's hard to like find out, is who you see yourself as the real you, or is it how you act? Frankly,
I think it's a mixture of both. Because like, let's say you're in a situation where you're somebody who constantly puts you down. but um, let's just say you're with someone who constantly tells you like you're ugly,
Mm-hmm.
but
girl, don't nobody tell that to me.
But um, you may have somebody else that says, "Oh no, girl, that like you look good" or whatever. But this person that tells you that you're ugly is very important in your life.
Mm-hmm.
Would you adopt what they say, or would you
Oh,
say to yourself, "No, actually, I do think," and it takes a lot of internal like understanding and growth to put your to see past maybe just somebody's being just really
that's a
mean and disrespectful,
great question.
and whether or not you're really like you see yourself that way.
You know, that's actually a really great example because if I see myself as cute,
Mm-hmm.
but I want to be cute to a particular person and that person thinks I'm ugly,
Mm-hmm.
well, then I start thinking that I'm ugly. You know what I'm
Right,
saying?
but you wouldn't. I mean, well, I can't say that you
No,
wouldn't,
I'm not saying me, but I'm just saying in general. Yeah,
but in
something
general, you
you could.
shouldn't because maybe there's like all these other instances that show you that no, you're not unattractive, but
But if you're not getting that love from the person you want it from, and I not just mean in a
then it
relationship,
can bruise your ego.
like yeah. So I guess it's almost like how they say parents are, like how you were raised is a big indicator on how you deal with situations as you get older. Because it's like, for instance, sometimes or people when people say you got mommy issues or daddy issues, it's
Mm-hmm.
typically because it's something that you were lacking in your relationship with a parent that kind of transitions into your relationships with people romantically or just personally.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
But you can't rely.
Well, it's called because it's called self esteem. So you know what I mean. It's supposed to build yourself up.
Yeah, because like you can't rely heavily on it. It's like when people say things like, um, yeah, like people are so quick to get divorces because of their parents, like
Mm-hmm.
how they grew up. But who's to say that the person that they like me?
Mm-hmm.
I grew up with my grandmother,
Mm-hmm.
who stayed married to both of her husbands, until their passing.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that's all that I saw was a loving relationship with somebody who stayed with someone through extreme downs, until the very end, and
Mm-hmm.
that didn't waver. But that doesn't mean
I ain't gonna
that
lie, the way you phrased it at first, it was sound like
she
grandma was
had
a
two
person.
husbands at
It
one
was like,
time.
yo, she stayed with both her husbands. It's like,
No,
damn, grandma was pimping all over the
but
world.
she was not.
Oh yeah, no doubt.
but but that doesn't mean like that I would I would be like, oh, it would just take me so much longer to get a divorce. Like, no, if I'm fucking unhappy, like, and I can't figure out a way to fix that, um, then I'm not gonna stay somewhere and be miserable.
So it seems like, well, it is the core of this question is based off of, or the core of this conversation so far is based off of the fact of you knowing yourself well enough to know
Mm-hmm.
what um like nobody can take it away from you. So for instance, if you know something about yourself and you can stand firm on it and you can reaffirm it,
Mm-hmm.
then of course we all have, like I said, it's only natural to have, like the people you love have the most ability to hurt you.
Mm-hmm.
So there can be shocks to your self-esteem or like knocks to it, and maybe you just get knocked down a notch or here or there, get brought down for whatever reason. But it's knowing that it's a fallacy and knowing that it's sometimes it's just not nothing wrong with you, it's something wrong with the person. Like, so being sure of yourself and being in tune with who you are is the only way you can survive in any space. You know what I'm saying?
And the thing with identity is that your identity grows as you grow. So like the way that I
like that.
view the world now and how I view myself in this world is a lot different than what I used to. And so like when you think about your friends that you used to have,
Mm-hmm.
and if they know who you are now, if you allow them the chance, like who I was then probably isn't who I am now. The things that I like then I might not like now, and that's okay. Like it's okay. you have to give yourself the allowance and the ability to grow and be different and not stay stuck in a space.
Yeah, I mean, I like that, and I like the it's almost it's a that one it's tricky slope because it's like you want to have space to grow, and I mean this for the people that hold it against their friends on both ends. Sometimes the person that's transitioning, because the person that's transitioning to something else, sometimes the people that they're transitioning away from feels like, oh, you changing up now.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes it's the person that's transitioning to be like, y'all still on like yesterday's stuff and I'm on tomorrow's stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I do feel like that friendships are a proverbial contract in the sense of you're my friend because we're doing this thing. We have similar interests. We have similar tastes. We're in a similar situation, whatever those friendships. I mean, all had friendships that were just by convenience or sometimes by bond, sometimes by proximity because you work together, things like that. But I also don't think it's nothing wrong with differentiating between who's your friend and who's cool. Mm-hmm. Like, so for instance, if it's 3 people over there and I say, yo, those 3 dudes over there, yo, they all cool. That's a compliment. Mm-hmm. But if somebody was to say, yo, your friend such and such, I'm like, oh, no, he ain't my friend, but we cool though. Mm-hmm. It sounds like a slight.
Yeah, but it's not necessarily.
No, because the example I always use is that if you have a birthday party at like ain't nobody having no birthday unless you live in Atlanta. Then you can have a birthday party in the club, maskless. But if you have a birthday party at a club or some type of party, you're going to invite everybody you cool with. Mm-hmm. If you have a dinner party, you're inviting your friends.
Right. Uh-huh.
You know what I'm saying? So I think the word friend is a hard word to differentiate from you just cool. Mm-hmm. Because like I said, the person that's transitioning away, you know, it's like your friends have a right to be upset. Sometimes people look at it like, hey, oh, y'all mad because I'm leveling up or whatever the case, however they want to phrase it. But it's like, nah, if you're my friend and we do this certain thing, I have a right to be mad if you break that contract. Now, if I love you, I might be not mad. Maybe mad is not the word to use. Yeah, like I'm gonna feel some type of way if I'm losing my friend because they don't want to do what we share together. Mm-hmm. So the friends that's being quote unquote left behind have a right to feel mad, but the friend that's transitioning also can be like, well, yo, we can do this new thing. If y'all love me, y'all come with me. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? So, but your friends, I feel like your true friends will either transition with you or respect the transition enough not to pull you back to where they are. Mm-hmm. The people you cool with, they just thinking about what they need and what you are to them. And it's like, oh, who's supposed to, if you take that job across town, who I'm gonna kick it with on Saturday night? Right. So it's something like that. So I think that's probably the biggest difference is the people that's you cool with, they gonna fade out. The people your true friends, they gonna be there regardless of whether you still associate with that thing that you're transitioning away from.
And I like the way that you worded it because your true friends, I think a lot of times we think when we progress that if somebody doesn't progress with you that you're supposed to like throw them away. Mm-hmm. But you don't have to if they have an understanding like, oh, I see you doing, like if we all graduated from high school and I decided I wanted to go to college and nobody else wanted to go to college, but you don't make me feel bad for leaving y'all doing whatever that y'all want to do because I wanted to do this for myself, and I don't make y'all feel bad because y'all don't want to go to college. Like, but we can still get back together, you know, we can still hang out, we can still have conversations, but you just don't try to make me be back
down
where you are. That's the down is like
the
wrong word, but you know what I'm saying. You're not gonna try.
That's why I was trying not to use the word grow and try to use the word transition because it makes it sound like
if you don't grow that you're bad, but that's not the case. Like sometimes it's just not your time yet. Like you just haven't reached that.
And you know what? Yet. I think also when it comes to growth, and this is probably a struggle that I personally have had, is that when it comes to growth, we always feel like, there's this pressure to achieve maturity growth, which is to say, now that I'm 25, I should be doing this. Mm-hmm. Now that I'm 20, I should be doing that. Now that I'm 30, I should be doing this. Mm-hmm. Now that I'm 18, this is what I should be doing. Now that I'm 15, this is what I should be doing. And it's like, when it comes to growth, sometimes I think it's about being, again, fluid, mm-hmm. or being open. But honestly, if you know yourself at 15, because sometimes I'm gonna be straight up, like, not that I'm not straight up, but I'm gonna be straight up. Like, I feel like I knew myself better at 18, 19, 20 mm-hmm. than I did once I turned 30. Reason being, when I was 18, 19, 20, whatever, even probably before then at 15, 16, 17, I was just like, I knew what I liked and what I didn't like. And I would not engage and do anything that I didn't like. Once I turned and got to my mid-20s, it was a lot of things that I was like, oh, now that I'm 25 or I'm an adult, I should be doing this. Mm-hmm. I should be trying to, instead of buying all my cars cash, I need to start building credit. Not saying these things are bad, but mm-hmm. what I'm saying is that I didn't care about having a car note, for instance, but it was like, well, I got to establish credit. So now I'm going to get a car note. Oh, everybody know that I ain't finished high school. You know what I'm saying? So it was like, maybe I need to get my GED and then possibly take some college courses. Like, mm-hmm. it was like all of these things that I thought I had to do, mm-hmm. but I was never interested in doing. But I just felt like at the age I was, it's certain things I should be doing, certain type of relationships I should be in. Mm-hmm. But it wasn't me. And then when those things didn't pan out, it wasn't because I felt bad for trying. It was because I was like, my heart wasn't in it because I knew that's not what I wanted to do. But I felt like because of the age I was, or the people I was around, mm-hmm. it's kind of like, these are the
things that you should be doing.
Right. So I think when it comes to growth, sometimes you may know yourself at 17, you might find yourself. Now, granted, not to say you're not going to experience other things and have different things incorporated into your consciousness, but I don't think we should put the pressure on ourselves. I'm not saying that to you. I'm saying that to everyone. We shouldn't put pressure on ourselves, so much pressure on ourselves to grow. And I think that also goes into the social media thing, mm-hmm. where people see other people's growth at a higher level of growth, other people's success. So
think that they should also be.
You always feel like you got to be doing this, like the utmost. Sometimes social media can become a mirror to what you're not doing, instead of it being a mirror of what you are doing great. Mm-hmm. It becomes a mirror for some people what we're not doing. So it's like, oh snap, this person was on Instagram posting inspirational videos and now they got a show on iHeartRadio or something. It's like, that's what I should be doing. I'm funny, you know what I'm saying? But it's like, nah.
But sometimes like moments are for that person, like. Mm-hmm. It's just how the universe worked and panned out for them. It was their time. It was their moment. It was their space, mm-hmm. for that to be. And that's fine. With you saying, like, knowing yourself is good and knowing what you like and don't like. Mm-hmm. But I think the fear sometimes is that you don't, like, you're like, I know I don't like that, mm-hmm. but did you give it a chance?
Yeah, that's
like food. Like, I don't like vegetables, but did you try it? No, it just looks nasty. But then
sometimes you eat it and you be like, hey, they was nasty.
And if you try it and you don't like it, okay, it was nasty. But if you try it, you're like, you know what, that was actually kind of like good. For the longest time when I had never had Brussels sprouts, and then I had them one time and I was like, oh, these not bad. And it wasn't even that I didn't eat them because I didn't like them. It was just I just never had access. Like, I never was around anybody who made Brussels sprouts. My grandma never made Brussels sprouts. So
that's how I am with and this probably is probably one of the most unblackest things I've ever said.
You should say what now?
No.
What?
Chitlins.
I don't eat chitlins.
Oh, good.
They stink.
Exactly, and I'd be like,
and I know what it is.
I don't even want to know. I'm good
you don't
with
know what it is?
Nope, and I don't want to. I don't need to.
I'm gonna tell you what it
nope,
is.
Don't tell me.
Randomly, I'm gonna send you a text message and I'm be like,
then you're not a real friend. You're just somebody that's cool.
Well, whatever. If that's how you feel.
But no, like I can't. But no, you're right because you're limiting your experiences when you don't try.
But it's not saying you have to force yourself to do it.
But I also feel like we all don't have to try everything.
But if the opportunity presents itself and it seems like something that you can do, mm-hmm. if it's not gonna hurt you none, then try it.
No, that's true because I
don't
feel like,
force the opportunity on yourself. Don't be like, oh, you try to find the way to it, and then you do it, and you like, oh, I did all that work for what? Because this ain't even what I thought it was. Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. Because it's like a lot of times you don't find yourself until you lose yourself. Like sometimes you got to lose yourself to find yourself. In the sense of if you on a road and you go right. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? And right leads to a whole bunch of calamity or disaster or, you know what I mean, mistakes being made. Like, that allows you to know your character and get you back right. You get what I'm saying? Like, sometimes if you lose yourself, you'll be like, you know what? For me, I'm speaking personally, like, the things that I thought I needed to grow made me realize that nothing was wrong with me before. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I mean. I mean, I probably made that weird analogy, but that's what I mean by lose yourself by finding yourself. Sometimes you have to go away from who you are to realize that who you are was good enough to begin with, and you didn't need to change anything. And I think that's something that somebody said to me because she was just like, John, you always find something about yourself you want to change. You always feel like you have to get better. And it was true. But she was just like, why can't you just think of it, just elevate the person you are already good enough. Just elevate that person. Mm-hmm. You don't have to change that person. Right. So I think sometimes it's not even about, well, I guess that would be considered growth, elevation. Mm-hmm. But not losing the core foundation of what makes you you. Don't let the professional, the personal, the social identities and all these different spaces you have to be. Just, if we all lose ourselves at times, but just remember to like kind of mark your trail so you can find your way back home. If you need to. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So I actually think that that's a good way. Now this is, because I've already said it before, the tick-tock of my laptop clock. Oh my. First time I said it was off the dome. But now I say it by the tick-tock of my laptop clock. We can wrap this episode up.
That there was no tick-tocking of the clock.
Yeah, but the bars sound hard, and I'm going to just roll with the bars. The bar, like Waka Flocka had that song, it's a rooster in my Rari with the girl in the front seat, but rooster is a male chicken. That didn't make no sense. Or Nelly, drop down and get your eagle on. What eagles do that dance? None. Not no near eagle. Not the bald eagle. Not America's eagle. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, I think the way we want to sum this episode up is, know the difference between people who are your true friends, who are just cool. And there's nothing wrong with the people that's just cool. But, they have different specifications, qualifications, and, reparations for integration.
Not just trying to rhyme everything.
but yeah, know who your friends are versus who just cool. And just, like, it's very hard to know yourself as you're growing because you don't know, like you said, you don't know a lot of things until you experience them. Mm-hmm. But just try to keep the core foundation and understand and be accepting of the fact that sometimes you got to lose yourself to find yourself.
And it's okay being yourself. And
that's how we're going to wrap it up. This has been Grown Mannerisms, being fluid with the currents of life. I'm your host, John.
And I'm your host for today, Ciara.
And we signing out. Thank y'all for listening. Peace.